now. Today I have covered two things. I'll start out today covering two things, one of them around athletics and the other regarding weddings and banquet receptions. We have both of those came up in our last conversation that we had, and we announced last week that on May 26th, leagues and competitions could resume for golf, basketball, tennis, racket sports, softball, and the like. These are essentially non-contact activities, and with the proper observance of safety protocols, as we promised. The general guidelines for those non-contact activities, sports, are now up on the coronavirus website. Take a look at them. There are a couple of updates that you'll want to see. Accompanying that announcement was the fact that gyms and rec centers, fitness centers could also open on May 26th with the observance of those safety protocols. What we are adding to that we want to make note of today are bowling alleys and the miniature golf batting cage facilities that are also connected to those kinds of activities, and those will also follow the proper health and safety protocols. Those can be found at coronavirus.ohio.gov under Responsible Restart Ohio, although the bowling alley guidance probably will not be up until tomorrow. Another thing that we discussed was our conversations with the Ohio High School Athletic Association regarding sports and skills training. The past few days, we have had those conversations with the OHSAA, and I know that many of them are concerned, many of the student athletes are concerned about preparation for summer training for next school year and the sports. And while the plans for the school year in the fall are still being discussed, we do know that skills training and conditioning for student athletes is important to start now. And why is that? Because proper training and conditioning are not only essential for skill development, but they can also, a properly conditioned athlete can also reduce their chance for injury. And as a result of those discussions, we are announcing that effective May 26th, skills training can resume for all other sports, including contact sports like football, basketball, and lacrosse, so long as safety protocols are followed. This includes, but is not limited to, weight training, agility skills, and other types of conditioning that you would use to prepare for those sports. That guidance on training, skills training, can be found at coronavirus.ohio.gov/Responsible Restart Ohio. This was a joint effort between our working group that was looking at these issues and the Ohio High School Athletic Association for what you will see there. Now, I want to be clear, though, this does not mean that tournaments, scrimmages, games, and competitions can be conducted in these contact-type sports. For now, those are limited. Scrimmages or games, competitions are limited to the activities that we discussed with golf, racket sports, baseball, and softball. I know we are all enthusiastic about the day that competition for all sports can resume, and the conversations are ongoing. They're ongoing with the Ohio High School Athletic Association and others about how we can do that and when we can do that. But for now, we're focused on the next step of preparing for that day through skills training. It's also important to note that a practical component of making this happen will also include a change in the health order that will allow school buildings and facilities to be used for skills training for non-contact sports and for the non-contact portion of the skills training for these sports and the sports that we outlined in the May 26 guidance. Use of these facilities is, of course, up to the local school district and subject to the rules, their rules of operation as well. For all of the student athletes out there, I know you are anxious for more certainty about your future, and we will get back to you on those issues as soon as we can, working in conjunction with the Athletic Association. But for now, there's a reason for optimism, and so let the training begin. Wedding receptions, banquet facilities. We get a lot of questions about these. We've been working on a response to this. Events like weddings and funerals have always been exempt from the public gathering restrictions. However, wedding receptions and other similarly situated events have been limited when it comes to those receptions. Today, we are announcing a modification, a change to that policy. Catering and banquet centers will be able to reopen under similar guidelines as restaurants effective June the 1st. This will mean 6-foot distancing between tables, no congregating, and for the immediate future, crowd sizes will be limited for those facilities at 300. As with everything we announced, these limitations won't last forever, but we recognize that there are a lot of weddings and events that are important to people's lives that can and should go on. We are just asking that it be done safely as possible, to avoid the spread of the virus.